The sweat still glistened on Muhammad Ali's forehead as he stepped out of the makeshift ring they'd set up in the back lot of Gold's gym. Venice Beach, 1976. The cameras had been rolling for what felt like hours, capturing every jab, every dance step, every moment of the heavyweight champion's training session for an upcoming documentary. But what nobody expected was the sudden rumble of a motorcycle pulling up just outside the frame. Arnold Schwarzenegger dismounted his Harley with the fluid grace of someone who'd spent years sculpting not just his body, but every movement. At 29, he was already Mr. Olympia, but in America, he was still the Austrian bodybuilder with the unpronounceable name and Hollywood dreams that seemed as impossible as his biceps were massive. The documentary crew barely glanced his way until Ali's eyes locked onto the towering figure approaching through the gym's back entrance. If you're watching this story unfold and feeling that electric moment when two legends cross paths, hit that subscribe button right now, drop a comment telling us where in the world you're watching from, and smash that hype button, because what happens next will change how you see both of these icons forever. Trust me, you don't want to miss a single second of what the cameras captured that day. The gym fell silent except for the rhythmic clank of weights and the distant crash of Pacific waves. Ali had been mid-conversation with his trainer, Angelo Dundee, discussing footwork patterns when something in his peripheral vision made him pause. There was Arnold, methodically loading plates onto a barbell, his concentration absolute, his form perfect. But it wasn't the Austrian's physique that caught Ali's attention. It was the way he moved with the same deliberate precision that Ali brought to the ring. "Who's the big man?" Ali asked, loud enough for half the gym to hear. His voice carried that familiar, playful edge, the one that preceded either a compliment or a perfectly crafted verbal jab. Arnold looked up from his bench press setup, meeting Ali's gaze across the crowded floor. For a moment, neither man moved. The documentary cameras, sensing something significant, began to pivot toward this unexpected interaction. "Arnold Schwarzenegger," the bodybuilder replied, his accent thick but his English clear. "I know who you are, champion." Ali's face broke into that famous grin, the one that had charmed presidents and intimidated opponents in equal measure. He began walking toward Arnold, his hands already gesturing, his body language shifting into performance mode. The camera crew scrambled to follow, their equipment creating a small parade of mechanical witnesses to what was about to unfold. "What?" Ali laughed, but there was no mockery in it. "Man, that's more syllables than I throw punches in a round." "You got a nickname?" "Some people call me the Austrian Oak," Arnold replied, straightening to his full height. At 6'2", he still had to look up slightly to meet Ali's eyes, but his presence filled the space around him like gravity. "The Oak, huh?" Ali circled Arnold slowly, his fighter's instincts automatically assessing this new presence. "I'm the greatest. But you probably knew that already." Bull. What happened next would be dissected by sports historians and pop culture analysts for decades. Arnold, instead of the usual starstruck response Ali received from athletes in other sports, simply nodded and said, "Yes, you are the greatest boxer. And I am the greatest bodybuilder. We are both artists, no." The word artists hung in the air between them. Ali stopped his circling, his expression shifting from playful to genuinely curious. In that moment, the cameras captured something rare, Muhammad Ali being surprised by someone else's confidence. "Artists," Ali repeated, tasting the word. "Yeah, I like that. You paint with muscle, I paint with movement." Arnold gestured toward the bench press he'd been setting up. "Would you like to try? I can show you how we build power differently than boxing." The suggestion was audacious. Muhammad Ali, at the peak of his athletic career, being offered training advice by a bodybuilder most Americans had never heard of. The documentary crew held their breath, waiting for Ali's reaction. Instead of offense, Ali's eyes lit up with genuine interest. "You think you can teach the greatest something new?" "I think," Arnold said carefully, "that greatness recognizes greatness. And maybe we can learn from each other." What followed was 45 minutes of the most unlikely training session ever captured on film. Ali, with his natural athlete's adaptability, attempted Arnold's precise, controlled movements. Arnold, with his surprising agility for such mass, tried to mirror Ali's footwork patterns. The contrast was striking, Ali's explosive, rhythmic style against Arnold's methodical, architectural approach to physical development. But it was the conversation between sets that revealed the deeper connection forming between these two men. Arnold spoke about his vision of becoming a movie star, about using his bodybuilding success as a stepping stone to something bigger. Ali listened with the intensity he usually reserved for studying opponents, asking questions about Arnold's training philosophy, his mental approach to competition. "In Austria," Arnold explained while spotting Ali on a lighter bench press, "I learned that the mind must be stronger than the body. You cannot build muscle without first building the vision of what you want to become." Ali paused mid-rep, the weight suspended above his chest. "That's what I do before every fight. I see myself winning before I even step in the ring." "Exactly," Arnold said. "We are both creating ourselves, yes? Every day, we choose who we become." The cameras continued rolling as these two future legends discovered their shared understanding of self-creation, of the discipline required to transform not just their bodies, but their entire lives. What started as a chance encounter was becoming a masterclass in the psychology of greatness. As the afternoon wore on, a small crowd had gathered. Other gym members, initially drawn by Ali's presence, found themselves equally fascinated by this unknown Austrian who could hold his own in conversation with the most charismatic athlete in the world. The documentary crew, originally there to capture Ali's training routine, realized they were witnessing something much more significant. During a break, as both men toweled off sweat, Arnold made an observation that would prove prophetic. "You know, champion, I think America is ready for new kinds of heroes, not just in sports, but in movies, in business, in everything." Ali studied Arnold's face, seeing something there that others might have missed. "You really think you can make it in Hollywood? With that accent and that name?" "Why not?" Arnold shrugged. "They said a black boxer from Louisville could never become the most famous athlete in the world. They were wrong about that too." The parallel hit home. Both men had been underestimated. Both had been told their dreams were impossible. Ali because of his race and his outspoken politics, Arnold because of his foreign background and unconventional path to fame. "You know what?" Ali said, extending his hand. "I believe you will, and when you do, remember this day. Remember that the greatest saw it in you first." They shook hands, and the cameras captured the moment when Muhammad Ali, knowingly or not, gave his blessing to a future governor of California and one of the biggest movie stars in history. But the most remarkable moment was still to come. As the documentary crew began packing up their equipment, Arnold approached Ali one more time. "Champion," he said quietly, "would you mind if I asked you something personal?" Ali nodded, his usual performative energy replaced by genuine attention. "How do you handle the fear before a big fight, when everything is on the line?" The question revealed Arnold's vulnerability beneath his confident exterior. Ali's response would become one of the most quoted exchanges from that day's footage. "Fear is like a muscle," Ali said. "The more you work it, the stronger it gets. But courage is like a muscle too. And if you train courage harder than you train fear, courage wins every time." Arnold absorbed this wisdom with the same intensity he brought to his workouts. "Train courage harder than fear," he repeated. "I will remember this." As the sun began to set over Venice Beach, casting long shadows across the gym floor, both men prepared to leave. The documentary crew had captured something unprecedented, not just the meeting of two athletes, but the intersection of two philosophies of greatness that would influence countless others. Arnold walked back to his motorcycle, but before putting on his helmet, he called out to Ali one final time. "Champion, when I win my next Mr. Olympia, I will dedicate it to this conversation." Ali laughed, that infectious sound that could fill any room. "And when I win my next heavyweight title, I'll remember the Austrian oak who taught me that muscle and mind are the same thing." They never trained together again, but their paths would cross multiple times over the years. Arnold would indeed become Mr. Olympia again, then a movie star, then a politician. Ali would reclaim his heavyweight title and cement his legacy as not just a great boxer, but a cultural icon who transcended sports. The documentary footage from that day became legendary among collectors and sports historians. It captured the moment when two men, each destined for greatness in their own fields, recognized something essential in each other. More than that, it showed how true champions are always students, always willing to learn from unexpected sources. Years later, when Arnold was asked about his most influential encounters, he would always mention that afternoon at Gold's Gym. "Muhammad Ali taught me that confidence and humility can exist in the same person," he would say. "That lesson shaped everything I did afterward." Ali, for his part, would often tell the story of the Austrian bodybuilder, who understood that building a body and building a life required the same fundamental principles. "Arnold showed me that greatness speaks every language," Ali would reflect, "and that dreams don't have accents." The cameras that day captured more than just an unexpected meeting. They documented the moment when two immigrants to American fame, one from Louisville via the boxing ring, one from Austria via the weight room, discovered their shared understanding of what it means to create yourself from nothing but vision and work. In the end, both men proved that greatness isn't just about individual achievement, it's about recognizing and nurturing greatness in others, about understanding that true champions lift each other up rather than tear each other down. As you watch this story unfold, remember that every great achievement starts with someone believing it's possible. Muhammad Ali and Arnold Schwarzenegger didn't just meet that day. They validated each other's impossible dreams. And in doing so, they showed us all that the only limits we face are the ones we accept. What impossible dream are you ready to stop accepting limits on? The greatest champions in history are waiting to see what you'll create next. This story, like all the best ones, reminds us that greatness is not a destination, but a conversation between who we are and who we dare to become.